right, go.
Cause like I'm actually pretty comfortable in the water, despite how many times I like, you know. I don't really panic that much, but what's it called? I guess when I started to sink and drown with the weights on my back, I mean, I say I panicked, and I mean, part of me kind of was a little bit, but I knew I wasn't gonna like, I wasn't like panicking like, oh, I'm gonna die. I was more like, wow, this is different. I'm not used to, you know, like I'm good at treading, I'm good at finning. I don't mind being underwater, so I wasn't expecting it to be like that rough for me, and I guess I underestimated it, and I guess that's where it kicked me in the butt.
So you've identified what's wrong, but I mean, you were able to maintain your cool.
Yeah, like when I did the first 2 times I didn't understand what I was doing wrong, and so like I failed the first 2 times, so I had to do that surface check. And then the 3rd time I was like, okay, I have to pass this or I'm gonna come back here. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on my kicking, make sure I scully right, and I was doing that, and I got through my checks first. So I finished all my checks on my buddy, and I was sculling, doing everything right, and I was perfectly fine. But once he turned me and he started checking me, I guess when I was sculling, I just kept hitting him, and that's what threw me off a lot, and I started to like sink because I wasn't getting the full motion,
right,
full range, which messed me up, and then it just went downhill from there.
You also made a comment when we were talking earlier about checking repeatedly, you know, and waiting to get in water. So
yeah,
your advice?
The instructors are going to tell you, you don't do anything until I give you the signal. And so like when you enter the water and stuff, you're supposed to go through these procedures, get up, and then you check in with your instructor. Once you check in with your instructor, don't wait for him to tell you to deflate your BC.
Right.
As soon as you check in with your instructor, deflate your BC, and what's it called? Just start your buddy checks. As soon as you deflate it, just start doing. Make sure you guys already have a game plan on who's going first and whatnot.
Right.
Because,
always have a plan. Dive your plan. Plan your dive. Dive your plan.
Yeah. Because like if you wait, you're gonna. That was my first 2 mistakes. Is that I waited. Like the first 2. I mean, on top of the part where I wasn't doing the right kicking in my form for treading.
Right.
It was I waited for him to tell me to deflate my BC. I waited for him to tell me to start doing my buddy checks, which wasn't a good idea just because they have a full-blown conversation before they even give you any kind of instruction. So like you'll jump in, you'll be treading on the surface for like 30 seconds while they're talking to each other, and then they'll be like, okay, now deflate your BC and do your buddy checks. And then you're like, I'm already freaking gassed. And like if you're not good at trading to begin with, it's gonna be a bad time.
I got you. You got any funny PJ Induct stories or dive school stories you can share or want to? You don't have to.
I'm trying to think. I mean, as much as Induct kind of sucked. It sucked. It did suck.
It sucks. But
you, at the end of the day with your team, like you guys laugh about everything that happened that day. You'd think that you'd be pissed at the guy who messed up all the time, but you know, you just like, dude, you messed up bad. Like, how did you mess that? And then you guys just all laugh about it because it's not going to be him the next day. Next day it's probably going to be you or somebody else that's messing up. But it was like, I think it was the last day when we graduated. So one of our LTs, our class had a problem with calling. What use instructor names?
Yeah, you can use instructor.
Okay, our class had a problem with calling one of our instructors. He wasn't a sergeant, he was a sir, and we always, I don't know why they had a problem. We had a problem calling him sergeant all the time. And one of our LTs on the day we graduated, we had gotten everything, and they're about to release us. And our LT, well, the sir came up to our LT and asked him a question, and our LT said, "Oh yeah, sergeant," and then like answered him, and then our instructor, that was a sir, looked at him and was like, "Really? That's how you're gonna end dog right now?" And then like everyone stopped because everyone heard it, and we all looked at him and we were like, oh gosh, we're about to get dropped. And then he just smiled at us, laughed, and he was like, get out of here. That was great. And I was like, wow. That was funny. That was one of the times that I'll remember. And I feel like there's another one on the first team when we held hands, because they told us if we put out on these last like crossovers, or like the next 5 crossovers, that they won't make us do 10. And so we're like, okay guys, let's make these the best ones ever. So each side, the high and low side, held hands when we left the wall, and we held hands all the way to the other side. Everyone touched the crack at the same time. Everyone came up at the same time. It was like the epitome of teamwork. Everyone committed, everyone was together, everyone like held on. It sucked. We were going really slow. Like, it sucked. But you weren't getting kicked in the face, and everyone made it.
Right,
when you got
everybody's
to the
working
wall.
together.
We did it for like 3 times. After that, everyone's like, no, that is too hard. But I mean, like, we were still pulling each other in. We stopped holding hands, but we started pulling each other in. And then we still ended up doing 10. And we were, at the end of the day, we're like, man, they lied to us. That sucked. Every one of those. We did every single one. But, yeah.
Yeah, we lie sometimes. Is what we do. But you guys learned the lesson.
Yeah.
And you work together as a team, and in the end, that's what we're aiming for. So that's a good one. Well, go.
Oh, and the other thing is, certain instructors like certain things, like pulling into the wall and like helping each other out works for some instructors, and other instructors tell you not to. So just learn that.
Right,
Each instructor has their preference.
Right. So learn your preference to the instructor and get used to, when this guy runs the deck, we're all fast and doing this, and this guy runs really fast, or everybody's got their different.
Yeah.
And so you guys should share that at night. You guys tell each other at the end of that day.
What helps is, like, we did this thing where we had like a little powwow to like talk amongst each other, because we didn't want to
Get smoked?
No, well, but we didn't want to like have it seem like we wanted to look like a unified front too, and we didn't want it to look like we were getting mad at one guy for something, and we didn't want to just put all the pressure on one guy to focus all, like, the gear. You'll have guys that are assigned to like gear, equipment, and like element leaders and stuff, and you want, their job is to have that pressure on them,
right? But
just to take if you want them to do a good job, everyone has to help that person, just to make it easier for him. That way he does his job even better. And you guys all just look better when you guys all work together and help out. Like, if your gear guy is like loaded on gear and he needs stuff, I mean, instead of him having to ask all the time, you can have if you decide to be helpful, you can go around asking people in your element, hey, who needs extra stuff? That way when he asks it, you already have a list of stuff that he needs for your element.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's fun. You guys will have fun.
That's all that matters. Well, I wish you luck when you go back to dive school, and thank you very much for helping young cones to be.
All right.
All right.